What's up, beautiful people? It's your girl Debbie. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you're new here. And if you're new here, kindly subscribe so you can be part of the Malkia squad. Today I'm bringing you guys a story time. So yeah, I used to do makeup story time on my first channel, Debbie Doll, but that kind of stopped. So I was thinking of doing that here, but then I don't want to put some makeup, so I'm just gonna be undoing my hair while telling the story. And those legs belong to Gloria. She has refused to leave my side. We all know that kid is obsessed with me. Anyways, so today's story is going to be about the time when my manager literally wanted me to sleep with him for a job promotion, and actually have receipts. Okay, I have receipts, so I am not making this up. How can you just make something up? I have a question. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where like your job is on the line, and the options are: number one, sleep with your boss or manager to keep the job and possibly get a promotion, and number two, decide to quit, and like those are the only options? Well, that was your girl over here. So back in 2020, December of 2020, I was jobless and broke and I needed a source of income. So I started looking for a job, and after around 2 months of searching, in December, a friend of mine hits me up and she's like, where she's working, they have an opening. And I was so excited and so happy because someone I know works there, yeah? So easy peasy. So they send me the poster, they send me who to contact and blah blah blah. So they say they were looking for someone to start working real fast, so you didn't even have to send your CV and all that. Just message the person whose number was on the job poster thing. So I did that, and the person replied. It was a man. So they asked me a few questions, I answered them and all that, and they were like, okay, come in for an interview. I was like, okay, thank you. And then they go on and they ask for my picture, and at first I was like, this is weird. So I go back to my friend, I'm like, did they ask for your picture? Just asking questions, because never in the job of history have I ever heard managers or people in the HR asking for your pictures on WhatsApp before they hire, unless you're doing things like escort jobs and all that. So she tells me, yeah, looks kind of matter for this job and all that. I'm gonna get to what the job was in a few. Looks kind of matter and all that. The way you look, it attracts more people and all that. They will be more willing to stop and talk to you, blah blah blah, things like that. I'm like, okay. So I sent the man 2 of my pictures. I was professionally dressed. I looked if you know me, you do know that I do love to show a bit of skin here and there. I just love showing a bit of skin. This time around, I made sure I was covered. When I say covered, I mean covered. If I find the pictures, I'm gonna insert them. So there was no possible way to make out my body and all that, blah blah blah. So I send them the pictures, and they say I am beautiful and that I will do for the job, but I still need to go in for the interview, because before hiring you, you need to go in for an interview, and usually there's a panel of 3 people there interviewing you. So we set a date. It was 2 days after that encounter. I was so excited. My big brother Ombeni, he helped me write my CV, my resume and all that. I mean, my cover letter and all that. And your girl was ready. I was prepared. So I wake up in the morning, I put on my best suit. That's a song, yeah? Anyway, so I wake up, put on some, how are they called? Some maxi skirt, the kind of tight ones. And I put on a white blouse and a blazer on top. I looked smart. I dressed smartly, and a pair of high heels. Up to date, I regret putting on high heels because, well, anyways, I arrive at the office. So my interview was at 10 a.m. I arrived there at 9. Oh, pro tip, when you're going for a job interview, make sure you are there at least 30 minutes earlier. They see you are punctual and all that. It just goes well with your look overall. I get there. This man is late. First of all, it was at 9, so I expected him not to be there yet. So 10 rolls in, the man hasn't arrived yet. the manager, the one who was leading the interview, and you cannot walk into the interview if the lead is not there. So I'm just sitting there, I'm waiting. I literally had to wait for 1 hour and a half before that man arrived. He arrived at 11:30, and I will never forget. I was pissed. I was on the verge of going back home, because number one, if where you are hiring, the person conducting the interview is late, honey, trust me, you're in for a ride, okay? So we go in, we go for the interview and all that, blah blah blah. The interview was a bit weird, to say the least. So when it was only us two, the guy would become a bit unprofessional. And this is a man in his late 40s, okay, or mid 40s. He looked 40 something. This is a man in his 40s, okay, and this is a girl who is not in her 20s, okay. So we got there, I mean, we're talking, and then when we were alone, he will just sneak in a few inappropriate things, ask me inappropriate questions. Oh, he also asked me, because my age was indicated on my birth certificate and all that, blah blah. He asks me if I have ever kissed a man, and I'm like, wait, what? And let me tell you, when I tell you there were a lot of red flags, but your girl was so desperate and broke, she really needed the job. So I was so confused. I was like, are you sure you should be asking these type of questions at a job interview? And then when other people come in, it will be on the professional questions and all that, why you fit for this job, blah blah blah. Needless to say, at the end of the interview, I was hired on the spot. They said you got the job, so they didn't even have to look at the other people. They just told me I got the job, which I was very happy about. I was very excited. Now, what was the job? The job was an insurance sales agent. If you've ever done sales in Kenya or selling insurance, it is a struggle. It is a struggle. And this job title here will come in handy, because what I got for you, honey. So yeah, and guess what they told me? They told me that I should start the job immediately. And glow is back. Another red flag: never work at a company that tells you to start directly, because usually when you go for an interview, you wait for them to call you, confirm that you've gotten the job, and then they tell you when you'll be starting. For instance, you go in for an interview, let's say mid-month of December, you should be expecting the call maybe within a few days or a week, and then they tell you are starting in January or in February. You don't start. My point is, you don't start on the spot. That's a red flag. That's a red flag. It means you're gonna be overworked and they're extremely understaffed. Okay, so I was like, okay, so we go over what I'll be doing. So my job was basically to get people to buy insurance, as the title say, life insurance agent. So just get people to buy insurance. I was in the life insurance department. There is life, health, motor, and all those things. So yeah, it sounds easy, yeah. And then they tell me I have to buy a book, write in 100 contacts, call them, and all that. That just shows that I am determined, blah blah blah. If you've ever worked in insurance, you know what I'm talking about. So I do that. I start writing contacts. I ask some of my friends for numbers of people who might be willing to buy insurance. I call my friend who referred me to the job, asking her if she had a few contacts that might be interested. Yeah, so now here's the weird part. I was working directly under the manager's direction. So let's call him manager. That's his name. Yeah, I was working directly under him. So this one day I go to work in the morning. I usually go in the morning. We arrive at the same time, because there was supposed to be a 1 week training session whereby we're working together. He's teaching me his ways. I am watching him work and all that. Gosh, most of the times, instead of that man teaching me actually how to sell insurance, he was telling me about his life. Am I the only one who finds Glow a bit destructive at the back, Coco? Oh, she just gave me bags. So most of the time he will just talk about his life experiences with women, his sexual experiences with women, and I found it a bit weird. Not even a bit weird, I found it so weird. So for 100% of the time we were together, 80% of that time was him talking about himself, his experience with women, and how women want him. And I was like, How does that concern me? I am here to work. I am here to learn about the job. I did not come here to hear about your life story. If I wanted that, I would go on YouTube, look up Storytime videos. Anyways, so this one particular incident, he tells me about a time, he tells me he works part-time as a doctor too. He tells me he has this client who is obsessed with him, that one day she came in his office and stripped naked in front of him and was like, nope, she wants it. And I was like, why are you telling me this? Like, why? After seeing my age, knowing, it was just, oh my, it was just, I couldn't fathom it. Up to now, I do not understand the reasons. I do not understand the because. Okay? So I was like, can we please go back to the learning portion? So he teaches me a thing or two. Well, he tells me a thing or two and all that. And then he was like, let me give you a tip or a trick. You know what the trick was? He was like, you see all these women working here? Most of them have had to go to these big offices around town to seduce men, to getting them to sign with them so they can get paid. And I was like, what the hell are you suggesting, or what are you saying? So basically what he meant is most women around that office would go and to big offices, you know, these big corporate offices where they're most likely to buy insurance on their assets and all that, and they will seduce the men over there, possibly get a date with the men, and then sleep with the men to get that contract. I was like, ooh, you are talking to the wrong person. I straight up told him that's something I can never do for the respect I have for myself. And then he said it has nothing to do with respect. I don't know, you know, make ends meet. I was like, please. And then he was like, okay. And then the day ended. I went back home, came back to the office, same old story. And then this one time I had to get up to go use the bathroom. I go to the bathroom, I come back. He says I have a beautiful figure. And I'm like, Father Lord. Father Lord. And then it does not stop there. He then tells me he wonders how I would look like naked. And I'm like, at that point I was so disgusted. I told him if he continues, I'm going home. So yeah, we went back to the working part of it. And then he was like, oh, he'd like to invite me out for coffee. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't do coffee. I don't do outside work friendships. I don't do any of that. And then he was like, stop being so stuck up, you know, stop being hard and all that. I like knowing my employees and all that, just so I can surprise them. I like knowing when, oh, he asked me where I lived, and then his reason was he likes surprising his employees sometimes. And I'm like, I don't want a 40-something old man showing up at my doorstep claiming they're here to surprise me. You are my boss. That should just be the job. Like, nothing more. Don't visit me. Don't call me. Email me. Call me only when it's work related. And I was so surprised, man. I was like, and then he starts pointing fingers. He's like, you see that woman? She had to sleep with so-and-so to get a contract. You see that one? She had to do ABC to get that contract. And I'm like, okay. And then he tells me he has a clientele. Basically, to everyone who might not know or is confused, a clientele in this particular story means that a list of clients, or a list of clients that person has. He told me he has a clientele that he can give me some of them, and he told me they're all big names and all that. They're all big money and all that. If you manage to close one of them, you'll be good for the rest of the year, because their rates they pay you, I think, 42% of whatever your client is paying them for around 12 months. So it's not a bad rate, but getting those clients, that's where you have to work. So I was like, and then I was like, oh, that's interesting. I would really appreciate it if you do that. And then he was like, what are you gonna give me in return? And I was like, Father Lord, I did not ask for anything. This man openly told me he has a clientele and he will give me some of them. I say thank you, I appreciate. And then he asked, what am I gonna give him, Father? And then at that time I didn't have a phone. I had I had this phone that a friend of mine gave me. It was like it went on and off on its own all the time, so work was a bit hard because remember, again, this is sales, so you're making phone calls all the time. He saw that and was like, the company can provide me with a tablet and a laptop to improve my work. And I was like, oh, that will be great and all that. To apply, you have to get the approval of your manager, and I was like, I would like to apply for a tablet and a laptop. And then he asked me, if I approve, what are you gonna give me? Yes, this is something that's coming from the company. It's not like he's the one paying it from his pocket. It is the company, okay? And then he asks me, what am I gonna give him if he approves my request for a tablet and a laptop? That belong to who? To the company. That mimi nilichoka. I was tired. I told him, what do you mean? Huh? I will work my ass off, because if I am under you and I work good and I get good clients, obviously you're gonna be promoted and you get more money. He said he doesn't care about the money, he has enough money and all that, blah blah blah, looking at me very weirdly. And then he went back to the coffee date again. I was like, nope, I cannot grab coffee with you. I do not want to grab coffee with you. And then he goes on telling me stories about how women there will kill to go on a coffee date with him, oh blah blah blah. And I'm just like, dude, it made me have a lot of questions. And so I had to text my friend again, the one who referred me to the job, because how am I getting an attitude like this? And I don't know, you know, if your friend recommends you to something, more often than not, you know that it's legit, you know it's professional and all that. So it was a really big shock to see how this man conducts himself, and how he is a manager. He is also her manager. So I was very confused. So I texted her just to understand exactly if he is as sexual with her as he is with me. She told me, well, since her father knows him and they go to the same church, he's not very sexual with her, but he does throw in a few inappropriate comments. And so me, I concluded that he's not as sexual with you, probably because he knows your father and he's scared that you might tell on him, meaning he knows that what he's doing is wrong and he shouldn't be doing it. You know, one thing I really hate about sales and corporates in general is that these managers think they can manipulate you and just treat you however they want because you're desperate, or because you are young. No, or because you are a young woman looking for a job, looking to get paid. And it's disgusting. And God, may Lord have mercy, because why? So like I was really, it was like, that was still during my first week. Yeah, this is during the first week. You see how much has happened in 1 week? Yes. So I'm like, this is getting a bit out of hand, because now he will text me on WhatsApp, you know. Like, if it's professional, you either call me to tell me, oh, today I want you to come in early, or you send an email. You don't text me on WhatsApp asking me how my night was, asking me what I've had for dinner. What? God. Anyways, so yeah, you can see I'm really getting heated up, because this is something that happened and it's not good. So and then he was like, oh, he will offer to take me home, he will offer to take me to lunch, and I will constantly refuse. So this one time he calls me, he's like, we're not working at the office we normally work in, we're going to work in another office, in another branch, to say, yeah, in another branch. It was considerably far from the other one. The transport was, I think, double what I normally pay to go to the office, to the main office we worked in. And then I go there, we walk and all that, introduces me to the other people who are under him. It was mostly women in their early 20s, if I'm not wrong. And I'm like, oh, okay, hi, blah, blah, blah. So we got to work, because he was still teaching me a few things. So he was like, pretend I'm a client and pitch to me what you are selling. I had been practicing. As we all know, I have social anxiety, so I was really trembling and my legs are shaking, but I told myself to calm down. So I started talking and all that. He said it was really good, but it was missing something. So I was like, what is it missing? We all know what it's missing. It's missing seduction. You know, it's missing being sweetie. Oh, it's missing I don't know what. And I'm just there like, am I auditioning to become a prostitute or something? Am I auditioning to become a prostitute, or am I pitching my body out, or am I pitching your services out? At that point I was so confused. So I told him I thought it was professional, you know, and all that. And then he said, just be playful, especially if it's with men. You know, these jokes happen here and there, blah, blah, blah. It did not sit right with me. I told him I'd rather just keep it professional with all my pitches. I had been making phone calls and all, and that day I actually had an interview with a potential client. So I was so glad because I got to escape early. So I told him I have an interview with a client at around 3 p.m. so I really have to go back home early and all that, because he was getting way out of hand. He was telling me, I don't know, be seductive and all that. Oh, sijui, talk with sexiness, you know, men will. And then he told me I'm a beautiful young woman. It will be so easy to close male clients, especially because I am still fresh. Oh yes, oh yeah, he said because I am still fresh. He said because I am still fresh, it will be so easy to close the deals. So I go have my interview with the person. I give them my contacts and the manager's contacts. I'm like, if you have further questions, please don't hesitate to call them. And yeah, so I go back to and then I go back home. Now this was the second last straw before I was like, I've had enough. I go back home, he texts me, and you know what he tells me? He tells me it was not necessary for us to go work at that office there. He told me he wanted us to go work there just so he could spend time with me. At that point, I lost it. I was like, hold up. So the difference between the two offices is the one we usually worked at had more grown-up people, so it had more seniors than juniors, and as juniors we were like quite a handful, like you could count them on your hands. So there weren't a lot of pretty figures, you know, size 8s passing around, but at the other end there were a lot of size 8s passing out. It's like at the other end, it's where all the youths were at. Yeah, and so he was like, you know, he did not have the freedom at the other office because it was mainly grown-ups, but uko penye kuna my youths. I was like, God. So I started saying, so if I did not have to leave for that interview, what would have happened? Because on that same day he actually did offer to drive me, and I was like, nah, I'll just take a matatu. And I didn't even know where I was, to be honest. I was just listening to where the matatus were going, and I found one that was going where I was going, and I was very happy. Hey God, I was so mad. I replied to him and I told him it was very unprofessional and asked him not to be texting me at night if it's not work related. And that was it, and I went to bed. So the following day, wake up, go to work. This is the second week, Sasa. I think in the middle of the second week, or at the end, I go to the office where we usually go, and you know, he's being him, sexualizing me head to toe, telling me Father. The amount of times that man made me feel like it was a crime being a woman in that office, and the way I went out of my way to cover myself fully. Like the only thing that could be seen was my neck going up. I wore things that reached here. I wore pants that weren't tight. But still, this just, my point is, it doesn't matter how you dress, it doesn't matter how you look. If these men want to sexualize you, trust me, they will. They will. If they want to force themselves on you, they will. It's so, like, I think it's about time we stop telling women how to dress in order to avoid being sexualized, to avoid being sexually assaulted, because it doesn't fucking work. And I am so pissed right now because you're gonna go to the media, you're gonna be seeing people saying, oh, dress modestly if you don't want this thing to happen to you. Oh, cover yourself fully if you don't want this thing to happen to you. Back in the days when women were wearing those big ass gowns, they were still being sexually assaulted. And this just proves my point. It did not matter how I looked, how I dressed, how I conducted myself, how nice I was, or how big of a smile I put on, that man still wanted me in his bed. This should tell you enough about our society. It is not our fault. It is the men. It is the freaking men. God. So yeah, no matter what a woman does, if that man just wants to satisfy himself, he can do whatever he has to do so. And it's scary, man. It's really, really scary. And I pray that my children, our future generation, doesn't have to live through this, because, oh God. Anyways, he goes on sexualizing my body and all that. He invites me to his house. I say no, and then he's like, what are you afraid of? We're just gonna have a little bit of fun. A little bit of fun? You are my freaking boss. What do you mean a little bit of fun? The only fun I am here to have is seeing confirmation that I have received my salary. That's all. That is all. The work day went like it usually goes. Him sexualizing me trying to work, me making phone calls, him telling me I'm not being seductive enough and all that. Oh, there's a time he showed me this company. He was like, it's a Target. I go there, you know, I talk nicely to those men and all that. Oh, I give them what they want and all that so they can sign with us. I was like, dude, you're tripping. You are tripping. That day I was so pissed. I just came home directly and then I'm chilling, and then this man texts me. Now he texts me at night. You know what the first message is? Oh, I miss you. I miss you. Oh. He says he misses me. He says he misses me. And I'm like, it's 10 p.m. at night. You're texting me you miss me. You, my manager, my boss, in your 40s, you are texting me you miss me. That got me so off. It left a bitter taste in my mouth, and I was like, no, Debbie, if we are fighting, we are fighting. If I get fired, I don't freaking care. But this is something I will not entertain anymore, because the way he was so sexual, I was actually afraid that one day, if we end up being in the office alone, he might do something. Genuinely speaking, I was afraid. Like, I was afraid. After that, oh, guess what? He told me, and do not address me as Mr. Manager. Address me by sir or boss. And I was like, ooh, somebody just got stung. My bad. I'm joking. So yeah, he was bitter. He was like, oh, as from now, do not refer to me as Mr. Manager. Refer to me as sir or boss. And I was like, so before we even continue, when I was telling my elder brother this story, our firstborn, he was like, most men continue with such behaviors because they haven't met a female, or haven't met enough females who tell them no and actually stick to their answer. And that is why they're gonna keep on pushing, because they know at the end they always break, which is really sad, because it was so disrespectful the way he was talking about these ladies. He was just talking about them like they were assets, you know, things that he can just acquire. He was like, because there were times he will say, even if I wanted to right now, I will go to that girl. He will point to people and say, I'll go to that girl, tell her I'll give her one client and she will do whatever I want, you know, she will sleep with me and all that, blah blah blah. And it was really sad. And I was like, my brother does have a point. You know, as ladies, if we want let me just say my truth. I feel like if we want to be heard, if we do not want men to act like my manager did, more of us need to say no. Like, more of us need to say no. Let's not sell our dignities. Let's not sell our pride for a salary, because trust me, it's gonna bite you right back in the back. First, you lose the respect of that person that you slept with. Yeah, you actually lose their respect. I'm not even lying. And two, they're gonna be trash talking you to literally everyone when they get the chance to. God. They're gonna be trash talking you to literally everyone when they get the chance to. And three, they will most likely never refer you to any other jobs other than that one. And every single time you want something, you will have to do it at a cost, and the cost is your pride and your dignity. So yeah, it's really sad. it's really sad, the way he was talking about the females, the way he was pointing to them. It's like they were just objects, you know. It's like they were just objects and nothing more, and that really made me sad. So after that encounter, after that night, Sasa, I had sent my brothers, all my two elder brothers, I have two big brothers, the messages, the screenshots, because I was like, let me just show you what has been going on. And then they were like, they both told me, leave that job, it's not a healthy environment. And I was like, that's so true, it's really not a healthy environment. So the following morning, it was on a Thursday, the following morning was a Friday, and I was supposed to report into work. But I woke up and genuinely I was like, if this is what I have to deal with at work, I'd rather not have a job, you know. I was like, nah. So I just sent my resignation letter. And yeah, I did not, that was like almost 3 weeks and a half, no, almost 2 weeks and a half in, I quit. I was like, nope. Yeah, all of that happened in a span of 2 weeks. Like, this man did not even wait, did not even pretend, did not even try to be something he's not. He straight up went in and started sexualizing me the moment he saw me. And nah. And I feel like if I kept fueling it, you know, replying to his comments and all that, it would have been bad. If we ever found ourselves alone, it would have been so bad. Even in elevators, I never got in elevators when it was only the two of us. Never. If an elevator stopped and there was no one inside and I was with him, I would say I'd rather use the stairs and be like, oh, I've just remembered, I prefer using the stairs, I don't think I'll use the elevator today and all that. Or I'll just walk over and just go to the stairs, and he will follow me actually and ask me why I did not want to get into the elevator. So I quit the job, and at first I was a bit sad because now I wasn't gonna get that salary and all that. But then I was like, at least I get to keep my pride and my dignity. If you know me, then you know that I hate being called names like sexy, you know, names that sexualize me. Even on my Instagram, when men come into my DMs and be like, hi sexy, I usually tell them, kindly refer to me by my name, or don't refer to me at all. I find it disrespectful, but that's a personal thing. Some people like being called sexy and they don't think it's sexualizing them, and that's fine. But I personally think it's sexualizing me and I don't like it. So I just prefer being referred to by my name. So I quit, and then he was like, oh, I am a weak person. And then he was like, that's how corporates are, they make these jokes and all that. And I was like, excuse you, I don't care, I'm out of here. You know, he tried to belittle me into going back, if you get what I mean. So it's kind of like using a negative approach to get someone to do what you like, what you want, something of the sort. Started telling me, oh, I'm weak and all that, telling me that I could hata singeweza whatever that job, singewezana na hiyo kazi, like I wouldn't have succeeded in that job. He just started being like a child, whining and all that. And he told me that I won't get another job and all that. He was just bitter. At this point he was just speaking nonsense. And then I was like, okay, good luck. And then I blocked him, and that was it. So let me tell you something. Never settle at a place where you are being disrespected and your talents aren't being shown. You know, because it gave me a lot of questions. I started wondering, was I hired because of how I looked, or was I hired because I actually qualified for the job? Because I started asking myself that question so much, and I was like, can be both. Anyways, after that job, I actually did get another job. It was a corporate job, and the experience there was so much better from the other one. First of all, I was respected. When I tell you I was respected, is I was being heard. My opinions were being heard. Like, I will give my point of view on things and they were being heard. Never has a colleague ever sexualized me or made these comments. And I had the best manager ever. He would help me with where I would struggle and all that, and teach me how to do things without sexualizing anything. It was strictly professional. So what I'm just trying to say is, if that manager is giving you a hard time, sexualizing you and all that, and you actually fear that he might try to force himself on you, please leave. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. Let me tell you, as a person who has been sexually assaulted, that is one of the hardest thing to get over, to move past, because it follows you. It's a crime committed on you, if that makes sense. It's something you're gonna be thinking about a lot. Sometimes you even get nightmares of it. I don't want you to stay at a job just for a salary, just to, I don't want you to close yourself to that job because you need the salary just to be defiled like that. It's not worth it. So yeah, I am so happy that I left that job. I'm so happy that I did not spend any time there. I texted my friend, the one who referred me. I told her I have quit, I cannot deal with it. I don't know how you do it, but honestly that is way too much, because I sent her the screenshots too, and she was like, hey, well, and then she told me she might be quitting too. I told her, you do you, I'm not telling you to quit or anything. Just don't come and say, oh, Debbie told me to quit. Just do whatever works for you. So yeah, that's it. There's really nothing much to say. Hello, editing Debbie at 1:30 a.m. This is really becoming a habit. How cute is my bonnet? Anyways, so yeah, that's the story. That's the story. I've watched it again and I'm like, damn, that's wild. The fact that you even survived for 2 weeks and a half is wild. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If there's anything I want you to take away from this video, is it's not worth it. If you're being sexualized at your workplace to this extent, it's not worth it. If you don't feel comfortable at a workplace, it's not worth it. Okay, it is not. Trust me, it is not, and it's not the end of the world. Okay, if you liked it and you want to share the story with a friend, just share it with them. Give it a big thumbs up, leave a comment, and let's just support this girl's channel. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I shall see you guys next time with Debbie. Bye.